Hey, what's going on, guys? Team 3D. Answering a question I got from this guy, Easy XXXX something. He's saying thanks for the videos. You're welcome. And he's saying he's asking for some advice on motivation. Pretty much what to do to stay motivated 24/7. Now, I made tons of videos on this subject. Look at my motivation and inspiration playlist, I think it's called. I made a lot of videos on that, but I would never turn back, back down from a question like that because I know that's one of the biggest problems we have in the fitness community is motivation. I mean, I go through that shit all the time. I'm giving you guys advice on how to stay motivated because that was one of my biggest problems was staying motivated. And I mean, every time I read a message like that, it touches me because I know it's someone who wants to achieve great things and just he's honest. He goes, "Yo, I want to be great, but fuck, man, I'm struggling with this motivation shit." And it's very, very common. It's a common problem. Like some days you're just pumped up and fired up, you're ready to take on the whole world, and a few days later, you wake up and you feel like shit, and then it becomes a domino effect because that day you don't do anything, and then the guilt comes on because you didn't do anything. So the next day you don't do shit. Next thing you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months go by, and you go downhill, and now you're like, fuck, man, I'm gonna get back on track. I'm gonna get back on track. You get back on track, same cycle. You start off strong and then you fall, fall, fall. And I realized the problem to that because, like I said, I'm a very stubborn motherfucker. I hate not knowing the answer to something, and I hate just taking, uh, uh, you know bail out answers like, oh, it's, people that say things like, oh, it's genetics, oh, it's you, or you just not built for that, blah blah blah. I hate those answers. There's always a way out. That's the way I see it. As long as I'm breathing, there's always a way out. So I did a lot of studies, a lot of research. I couldn't really find what was working for me. I was like, what's gonna motivate me? Because I tried everything possible that worked, but only for a small amount of time. And I realized this: you gotta use your brain. I was like, okay, what do I like doing without even motivation? What things do I love to do even when I'm not motivated? I started thinking, when I was younger, I used to play video games all the fucking time, all the time. Nobody had to motivate me to do that shit. And I was like, okay, what are some of the games that I played when I was younger? The games that I spent the most time in. I've noticed the games I spend the most time in are RPG games, Pokemon. Man, I used to play Pokemon like a motherfucker when I was younger. And um, games where you really level up, right? And then I started thinking. I was laying on my bed and I was analyzing. I was like, what is it about those games that kept me coming back to playing them? It's not just because they were fun. I mean, there's a lot of fun games out there that I play once or twice and I just drop. The reason why games like Pokemon and all these things went viral is because these are games where you level up. Meaning these are games that are, believe it or not, goal oriented, where you start off with a number and you increase that number on and on and on until you reach a set goal. Like you think about it, this is psychology right there. Because the human body, a lot of us, we like working with numbers. We like knowing where we are at now, and we like seeing our progress hoping to get to a certain number. For example, in Pokemon, you start off at level 5 and you have to get to like level 100. Your Pokemon is level 5, you have to level him up. Then you catch a whole new one just to start over. And when you get to level 100, you're like, oh, I'm bored now. Let me go catch a little baby Pokemon and then start all over. It's this whole concept of tracking progress and like seeing the numbers go up and up. You go in the grass, you fight, and then you level up and shit. People that were born in my generation, you guys know what I'm talking about. So I realized same thing with RPG. You start off with a number and you have to increase that number. And you start off with a badge, you have to increase until you get 8 badges, blah blah blah. And this is the type of thing that keeps humans motivated is when they have a number. It doesn't have to be a number, but this is what works for most people. When you have a number that you can keep track on and see evolve, we love that because we like seeing change. We like seeing progress. We hate seeing the same thing over and over again. And I was like, how can I apply that to bodybuilding? And I found the key, especially in bodybuilding, simple measurements. You see, you got to be goal oriented. I read somewhere where they said that humans we have three things that bring us pleasure: creation, tracking, and completion. When you create a goal, when you track a goal, when you complete a goal, those things give you pleasure. Think about it. When you pull out a piece of paper and write a goal, you already feel happy because you got the anticipation. Like, oh man, can't wait till I knock this bench press off or this deadlift goal or whatever it is. When you're tracking your progress, you're seeing that your weight is going up or down. You get happy, and when you finally accomplish a goal, you also get happy. So you have to use those three things on a daily basis in order to keep yourself motivated. Now back to the numbers thing. What one thing I do is I look at my measurements. I take a picture of myself every side, and I put it on my, like, my desktop, and I take measurements, my waist, my thighs, my legs, my arms, everything, and I write the numbers down. So now I have a visual. My arms are this many inches, my waist is this big, this and that. You have a visual, you have a number to start off with. Look at that as if, like, you your own Pokemon or whatever. You have to level these numbers up or down. You know, referring to your weight, you want that shit to go down, not up. And set a goal. Set a deadline. Set a deadline saying by this day, these are the numbers that I want. You know, obviously, when you're playing Pokemon, you have your dude at level 5. You don't want him to stay at level 5. In your mind, subconsciously, you're thinking, I want this motherfucker at level 100. Oh, he learns Flamethrower at level 35. I can't wait till I get there. So that anticipation keeps you going. If you don't feed your anticipation, you're going to crash, run out of motivation. So you got to have a way to feed your anticipation. And the only way to do that is to have a set goal. If your waist is this big and you want it to be this small, write it down. Your arms are 15, you want them to be 17, and write it down. I don't care how impossible it looks. Just write down the set numbers that you want. Focus on numbers, the set weight that you want. Then your mind is gonna constantly be fueled to reach that thing. Every meal you eat, every workout you do, you know that you're gonna get closer and closer to the closer and closer to those desired numbers, and that's how you keep going. So in this way, you're creating a goal, you're tracking your goal, and eventually you'll complete it. When you complete it, you can start all over. Now your arms are 17 inches. I want them to be 19 inches. Now you just keep going, keep tracking and following numbers. Without numbers, your brain doesn't have a visual. It doesn't have a direction to go to. And that's why I always say Team 3D, dominant, discipline, direction. Direction is the most important one. If you don't know where you're going, you'll be just going in a circle your whole life. You gotta have a set goal. And the reason why I say you gotta have a deadline is because I always say this: without a deadline, every goal is just wishful thinking. It's easy to say I want to call one day. If you don't have a deadline, nothing's gonna put that create that sense of urgency, and that's the power of deadlines. Deadlines give you a sense of urgency. It gives you a sense of, yo, no time, no rest. I gotta grind 24/7 because the deadline is getting closer. Have numbers. If your deadline is in 20 days, write down 20 on your board, on your door, whatever, and every day decrease that 19, 18, 17. This way you're creating that sense of urgency, and humans are the most amazing when there's pressure on them. Believe it or not, we just like diamonds, man. The more pressure is on us, the better we perform. Some people crumble under pressure, but some champions are built under pressure. So you gotta have that. You gotta have the numbers. You gotta be able to track them. That's how you stay motivated. Without tracking numbers, it's gonna be very hard because we visual beings. That's why we don't like reading. Motherfuckers hate reading. We like visuals. Having clear, concrete things to build on. And last but not least, you gotta have pictures. Man, you gotta have pictures. The physique that you want to achieve, you gotta have pictures of that on your wall so that when you wake up, you always looking at that. I mean, this is so powerful. I'm not even. I know you read that everywhere. You hear that everybody mention it, but I'm testifying this shit works. If you don't have pictures, if you wake up in your bedroom and you see that the wall is empty and shit, you're wasting so much potential. I could walk into your room and tell you where you're gonna be in the future. Literally, I could walk into your room, look around, and be like, I can give you a pretty nice guess of how far you're gonna go based on the pictures that are in your room or the lack of pictures in your room. You gotta have images that propel you. And if a picture doesn't motivate you anymore, take it off and put a new one. Put new images. For example, me, I always wanted to have great traps, and I tried everything. Nothing was happening. So I took pictures of motherfuckers with huge traps. I don't care how home that shit makes me look, and I put them shits in my room. It's still there. And every time I look at them in the morning, I'm motivated to do my deadlifts, my rack pulls, my shrugs, whatever. Because every day I'm reminded of my goal. You don't have a picture, the human brain will forget so quickly what it first set out to do. But anyway, I hope that answers your question. This video is too fucking long. I wish you the best, man. Remember, numbers, use numbers, and then pictures. We're visual beings. We need those concrete precision points. But anyway, like the video, share it with people on your Facebook, people that need help, so I don't have to make the video again. And I hope this changes your life.